Call the meeting order. Everyone please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Village clerk, please call roll.
Burgess.
Here.
Here. Myers. Here. Tate. Washington. Here.
All right, move item number 2, public comment. All questions and comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to comment on topics on agenda items only. Each speaker will be allowed 1 opportunity to speak. Please come to the podium if you have something. And I'm going to see we do have some visitors tonight. Just so everyone is a reminder that this is for agenda items only tonight in your comments. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is
Push the button to the screen.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, trustees, citizens of Sauk Village. My name is Philip Brazil. I'm the school board president of the New Consolidated School District 168. My discussion tonight is on item 4D, intergovernmental. I'm here tonight to express the discontent about the news I heard of the conduct of the members of the board during your intergovernmental meeting. The members of your board disrespected, humiliated, and denigrated the students, parents,
Sir,
and
this
staff.
is not on the agenda tonight.
It's on intergovernmental. Your report, the report is fine.
So what you're talking about happened at previous meetings is not even part of the discussion today. It's on the agenda items only, so what you have is, most of the time people comment on ordinances, resolutions, things like that, anything that's going to be discussed or voted on tonight.
Discuss, right? So you're going to discuss intergovernmental, correct?
It's for what's on the agenda in front of you tonight.
Right, item 4D.
If you want to talk about something that's off the agenda, I'd be glad to talk to you as soon as we get
No, it's not on the agenda. It's on the agenda.
But what you're talking about is not part of the agenda tonight.
So you're not going to discuss about anything that's happened at intergovernmental meeting, right?
If you want to discuss anything that's not on the agenda, that's for the first and third Tuesdays of the month. If you have anything else you want to talk about, feel free to come talk to me.
No, I'm just saying the intergovernmental report is not going to discuss anything that happened at the meeting, right? Is that what you're saying? That's not on the agenda.
It's not, what you're talking about is not on this agenda tonight.
So intergovernmental is not on the agenda.
What you're talking about is not on the agenda tonight. You're talking about something that happened at a previous meeting.
So they're not going to discuss anything that happened at this meeting, right? I'm just saying, I'm just asking. I mean, if they're not going to discuss it, I'm fine with it. I'll respect it.
Well, it's not on the agenda. So,
So I'll sit here and wait and see what happens at item 8.
I have two questions real quick. One, when people come, you say a lot of people don't come to the meetings. A lot of people don't come to the meetings, and I stopped coming to the meetings because of the lack of disrespect that I get from Ed Schenkel with this camera. I understand it's a public meeting, and he's videoing the meeting itself. If an audience person like myself is speaking, I would appreciate if you do not hold the camera on me. I do not give that right. Also, intergovernmental. I was going to ask Mr. Cecil Tate. I am a part of intergovernmental. We had a conference call set up to discuss the issues that have been disrespectful to us, and we haven't had any apology or anything. I would like to know, are you going to have another meeting set up? This is agenda. Another meeting set up where we can have our intergovernmental meeting, where I can be able to be a part of the meeting?
The intergovernmental meeting will be sometime next month. I haven't posted the exact date yet, but you're certainly invited to come to that meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
all right. Anyone else? All right. Seeing none, move to reports of officers. We have the mayor's report. On the mayor's report, I just have that if you haven't seen it yet, we have a mayor's blog, and on that information, on that blog that we provide, there's been a lot of reports that we put out, everything from department head meetings, the department head reports from the meetings. We've been getting that out on the mayor's blog. There's some other things we put out there about Cook County fraud alerts, additional Comcast channel lineup for our those residents. We put out some IRS news reports, some scans and things like that. So, that's just to name a few. So if you have a chance, go ahead and reach out there. It's under Mayor David A. Hanks, blogspot.com. And as my kids would say, if there's a few seniors out there, you would know that today, back in 1986, you may remember the Chicago Bears beat the Patriots, Super Bowl 20. So just wanted to bring it to your attention. All right, with that said, we'll move to Village Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since this is the beginning of the year, I just wanted to update everyone that when I took the office of village clerk, it was my goal to provide residents with as much information as possible via the village website. If you look at the list on the village website, no information is listed prior to 2009 because this practice was started by me. This practice is just one of the changes that I brought to the office of the village clerk. After last week's meeting, I made a review to see if there was any information that had not yet been updated. All financial information listed below was updated by noon the following day, January 21st, 2016. All meeting minutes approved by the board are also posted. We have on our website Sauk Village Accounts Payable Reports from 2009 through 2015, Sauk Village Collector Reports from 2009 to 2015, Sauk Village Treasurer Reports 2010 through 2015, Sauk Village Audit from 2010 through 2014, Sauk Village Budgets 2010 through to the present. I asked the IT consultant to place a link to the financial information prominently on the front page. I encourage everyone to go to www.saukvillage.org and review the transparency that we have in place. I'm currently working to update the 2015 ordinances and plan on including resolutions from 2009 to present. My goal in 2016 is to go back in time and post information from the time of the period prior to my taking office. It is clear that we're all in this together. We all need to be better about respecting each other, regardless of our personal or political feelings. United we stand, divided we fall. I look forward to working with our residents in a positive manner. My door is always open, and I'm only a phone call away. If I can ever be of any assistance in the future, please do not hesitate to reach out. My job is to preserve the history of our great village. My goal is to enhance it. Respectfully, Deborah Williams, Village Clerk. And the minutes I've also taken the liberty this week are going past through 2005. And hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have all the way back to 2000. And I plan to go all the way back to 1957 for every set of minutes that's available. So you can see the history of Sauk Village. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Who's the village attorney? Attorney Matt Burney.
Thanks, Mayor. Just one recent decision to report on. We recently had a grievance arbitration decision issued regarding a retroactive pay grievance that was filed by some former police officers. The arbitrators filed at the village had complied with the provisions of the collective bargaining agreement and accordingly filed in favor of the village. That's all I have tonight.
All right, thank you. Village engineer Jim's not here tonight, but he does have a report that he has for Village Clerk 3.
The report for Jim Zarnick, Village Engineer. On the agenda for approval tonight are two items relating to the village's annual MFT maintenance program. This includes tasks such as snow, plowing, tree trimming, street maintenance, and street lighting maintenance. Also, so the board is aware, I have not been asked to move forward with a street resurfacing program this year due to the state's budgetary uncertainty. This will be the first year since I have served Sauk Village that we have not done a street resurfacing program. We are not getting any CDBG money this year anyway. We can certainly bank the funding we received from the state this year and put it towards a larger street resurfacing program next year. I just want to be sure that is what you want.
Thank you very much. Move to Village Administrator J.W. Freeman.
Mr. Mayor, Board of Trustees. My first item is uniform crime report, and I won't say too much about it, but the chief will cover that. The January 26th UCR crime report draft will be sent to the board on February 1st. Now, my next issue is the update on the blueprint purpose project, the vacant houses and the contract component. The village's master list to date shows 475 vacant homes. Of those 379 are vacant, 84 are vacant but occupied, and 12 are on the demolition list. Sauk Village Police Department is in the process of identifying the 84 vacant occupied houses as to their status. Several months ago, legislation has been submitted to the Board of Trustees to assist staff in our efforts to control vacancy-related issues. This legislation will spell out ownership responsibility on all issues of property located within the Sauk Village, related to occupancy, water, and sewer. The village continues to lose a considerable amount of financial resources from vacant occupied houses that are not paying their related costs of village service. By year's end, costs could well exceed $50,000. It is our position that this legislation should be moved forward. We thank Trustee Burgess and Maya for supporting our efforts to get this legislation passed. The staff and I, have also reviewed the village's scavenger contract to ascertain if the village is paying the vendor for acceptable service. Several obvious conclusions have been made. The contract for scavenger services for every residential house in the village, that's what it covers. The vendor will deliver services those unless otherwise notified by the village that the number of residential units have changed. We have found that due to layoffs several years ago, since the layoffs, we haven't had anybody to notify the vendor in regards to discontinued scavenger services for vacant properties. The current scavenger billing for each residential property is $16.75 per month. Staff currently pays vendors what is received from the billing, and the underage, approximately $96,000 is what the village is compounded and made for the vendor. For compliance purposes, staff will begin sending the vendor on a monthly basis beginning February 1st. The village's master list requesting that the vendor not bill the village for services to properties on the vacant list. I strongly recommend that a liaison from the Board of Trustees have a meeting with the vendor in regards to past debt regarding services rendered to vacant houses. For our new budget starting, new budget that we're in the process of preparing, the staff continues to work on that budget, and it should be completed. Well, it's going to be completed at the end of this month, but Mr. Mohan has been under the weather. With that, Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report to the board. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Trustee.
Mr. Fairman, are you stating that Friday the budget will be available and we can start reviewing it?
No, there's no budget available until the mayor presents a budget.
Well, he said it'll be ready by the end of the month.
It should be ready for them to present to me.
Oh,
I was saying that we had planned for it to be ready, but Mr. Mohan has been sick, and he hasn't been able to get the information. That's okay.
okay. Well, then I'll ask you, Mayor, when will the budget be ready to be viewed by the trustees?
I provided a timeline last week.
I wasn't here.
You weren't here. I have to get that timeline together, but I don't have it with me. I think. Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Move to beautification
Before you
committee.
go on, Mayor,
Trustee.
I have a question about the budget that's being prepared. I did not or have not seen the municipal compliance report, which was due in December. And it's my understanding that in order for you to determine how the tax levy is going to be distributed, and I'm particularly interested in the police pension fund, but otherwise, I haven't seen this report. Is that available?
Okay, Mr. Mohan, when he comes back. Police pension is a totally different board.
No, I said municipal compliance report.
Okay. So we'll have to see when he comes back. Any other questions? All right, move to beautification committee. Beautification committee, there's no report at this time. However, the committee would like to remind residents to be careful while out and about. With the cold weather we've had lately, there's always a chance of ice. In addition, remember to check on friends, neighbors, and especially the elderly. Move to item B, Parks and Recs. Trustee Jones.
Well, Parks and Recs has put things on hold until I get some type of direction on this dismissal of Trustee Linda Washington off of the committee. I haven't had any discussion. No one contact me or what are we going to do about this situation. so we can move forward with Parks and Recs. I'm waiting on you, Mr. Mayor.
Move to Public Works, trustee Burgess.
Mr. Mayor, Public Works had their meeting last week, no, it was the second Wednesday of the month, I'm sorry. We would like to, Mr. Fairman, if you could relay that message to Kevin Weller, we would like to invite him to our Public Works meeting the second Wednesday, February 10th, here at 7 o'clock. Okay, and at this time, Mr. Mayor, there's a young man that would like to come up and present something to yourself and to the police chief, Mr. Zachar Ayers. He's a young man from the Bloom Township ROTC. He'd like to come up and present something to you right quick. Speak up so everybody can hear you.
It's February the 19th, is that correct? I probably should have my glasses on. Look at this. Oh. All right, at 6 p.m. and it's at Blue Trail. All right, I will respond to this. Let me double check my schedule, but if I am available, I definitely will be there. Thank you very much.
We've already spoken, and I thought this young man is a very great guy, and I will be there.
Okay, great.
So you can count me in on February 19th. It's my honor and pleasure.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zachary. Also, the next Public Works meeting will be also February 10th here at Village Hall at 7 p.m. That concludes my report.
Thanks, Trustee. Move to Housing and Intergovernmental Committee, Trustee Tates.
Prior to that, I commend Lieutenant Junior Grade Zachary Ayers. He participated in the Veterans Day celebration here. And for those of you who are present, you did an outstanding job. And I look forward to seeing it. On housing and intergovernmental, we did not have a meeting for January. We will have one in February. And I will post the date and times for those meetings. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee. Move to item E, Public Safety and Ordinance Review Committee, Trustee Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few items tonight. First off, the Ordinance Review Committee will also meet in February. We had one meeting set for this month. However, my board was knocked out with the flu and I didn't have a chance to have a meeting, but we will have one in February. Second item, I received word from our collecting agency, MCSI, and we started the program debt recovery by going through the Illinois Controller. That has seemed to going to start paying off pretty quickly. In the month of January, we sent in $168,559 worth of compliance citations that has not been paid for the month, for the whole year. And then that gives us a grand total of everything we sent in for the last, that owes to the village through ordinance, filings, local citations on building, local citations on building codes, parking, and there's also some police department citations in there. That brings the grand total of $670,765 that the people owe us, whether they're residents or people outside of town. So We did turn that over to the IOC, which is the Illinois Office of the Controller, and that will start taking place, and it's already has done some, but it will full force starting this month, and will continue through to April. And if everything goes well, we should receive approximately about 50% of that, and then we have to take out 10% for the MCSI. So it would still leave the village somewhere around $300,000 that we have collected over outstanding unpaid citations and so forth. And once again, Mr. Mayor, that's another that will definitely benefit the village. On the third item is several weeks back, not several weeks, a couple weeks back, we had an incident where we lost power in town on a very cold night, and we had to open up our warming center. Following that, it worked out pretty good. The power was only out for a couple hours or so. But the following week, I received a phone call from the chief that, Trustee Myers, I'd like to ask you a question. And the chief asked me, he says, there's a generator for the community center? So naturally, I called Trustee Jones, and he informed me there is no generator for the center itself. So, I guess that's going to kick down the two major warming centers if we lose power, would be the fire station and the police station. I would like to put this on the agenda for next week to discuss the policy on how these two centers are going to operate, and if we have to decide if we're going to do something with the community center, whether to get a generator or power that place up. Trustee Jones, there is none over there, correct? That you know of?
That I know of.
Okay. I don't think there is at all. So with that, sir, I'd like to put that on the agenda for next week. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Go to Neighborhood Watch Committee, Trustee Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I just want to announce that the Neighborhood Watch will be having our meeting, as we do every month, on the second Monday, which will be February the 8th at the fire station at 7 o'clock promptly. We are in the midst of filling out our grid for the village. We have approximately 41 block club captains, and we're in the process of filling the grids for every major street in Sauk Village to have a block club captain. So I want to congratulate all of my block club captains on getting out in their blocks and getting people to get involved with Neighborhood Watch. Also, as you know, I've been announcing that we're having a play on Friday, April the 15th at Rickover School. We are currently having rehearsals every Saturday at the community center at 11:30. I want to thank the two churches that came this past week and the block club captains and all of their families and neighbors and friends that have been coming for. We are up to scene 2, and it is quite enchanting, and it is a lot of fun seeing the residents come out and in an effort for community involvement as well as public safety, work together for something positive for the village, for the children. As you know, that when we have this play, the proceeds are going toward the 500 book bags the Neighborhood Watch have pledged to pass out and distribute and disseminate throughout the community. And the Neighborhood Watch is very excited about that. So if you want to be a part of the play, you can see me afterwards, or you can see any of the block club captains that's in the audience, or you can call and leave a message up front or on my private line. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee. We move to item G, Budget, Finance, and Community Relations Committee. Trustee Wynn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I reported last week, the Budget and Finance Committee met last week Tuesday, but I do see some new faces in the audience, and it's Trustee Burgess said he wasn't here, so I wanted to kind of go over what we discussed. We talked about the 2015-2016 budget and the quarterly reports, and the third quarter ends in January. So we had asked when we were going to be able to see where we were as far as the 3 quarters of the budget at that time. And Mohan said that we would probably be able to have that by mid to end February. The Budget and Finance Committee is not sure at this time when our next meeting will be in February, and we're hoping to have one in February, but that depends on when I'll be there. As far as the 2016-2017 budget, we talked to the mayor during the committee, and the mayor stated at last week's Tuesday's meeting that the department heads are working on finishing their portions, and getting them to Mohan. At that point, Mohan will then return it to the mayor for his revisions, and he plans on presenting it to the Budget and Finance Committee by mid-March. And then after that review, it will come to the board, and then we will start the budget and the budget reviews. So for the newer trustees and for the older trustees, kind of think about, start looking at your calendar for weekends. I'm assuming we're going to do this on a weekend, like typical, or I don't know if we're going to do this on some weeknights or whatever, but for the budget, actual budget review meetings that we have, we're hoping to get those started as soon as possible in April. And that's if everybody complies with the timeline, the mayor's able to present it, and the Budget and Finance Committee is able to then present it back to the mayor, so the mayor can present it to the board. We also discussed the aging report. Those are kind of the three big things that we discussed at the meeting. Mr. Zarnick is not here today, and as part of the community relations portion of this committee, wanted to discuss the fact that the CN Noise Mitigation Committee met last week, Wednesday. And for those of you who are unaware of what that is, the CN Railroad that comes through town, when they increased their amount of times running, they did give us a grant to help the residents in Sauk Village with noise mitigation. And I know Jim's reported on this a couple times. Both Trustee Burgess and I, who sit on that committee, have reported on this a couple times. And I wanted to let everybody know that the letters did go out to the 32 homes that are affected by the noise. And the letters did go out, and we did review them at our last meeting. And we got a total of 15 letters back out of the 32 homes. 7 applications that were returned were complete and were approved, and we can go forward. 7 applications that were returned were incomplete. However, they were submitted by the deadline, and we are working with Sherry, who is so great to us, and who is doing that. We're grateful for her, reaching out to them and explaining to them kind of where their missteps were so that they can complete their applications and return them back to us. And we had 1 application that was complete, but did not have any estimates, which was part of the whole application process. And again, Sherry is reaching out to that person. Currently, we are in the process of figuring out what to do with the balance of that money. A couple ideas have been tossed around, and we are working on just maybe some litigious things, what we can do, what we can't do, because we do have a balance. And I just wanted to state again that Candlelight Village did not respond to our request. We did offer them our plan was to offer them 1 lump sum so that they can do something along the highway or along the railroad for all of their residents, and they have not responded. So in phase 2, one thing that we are planning on doing is reaching out to them again, because we think that there's a lot of residents over there that are affected by this, and we'd like to make sure that they take advantage of the money. So Jim will be here to give a report. I believe it's the first board meeting of February the 9th. I believe that's when we plan on giving the report. And I know that Trustee Burgess didn't miss that meeting, but I was able to reach out. He reached out to me, and I reached out back to him to let him know what was going on. So I wanted to let everybody know, in case I'm not here for the February 9th meeting, what was discussed and the progress that we're making. And if Sherry, if you can, once you've got a better handle on that, and if you can kind of maybe send an email out to all of us and let us know, because like I said, I don't know how we email that.
That's fine. I had a resident this week inquired about that, and I told him the deadline was in November. I said, but we're in the phase of talking about maybe resubmitting letters to them, make sure they get on board with it. It's free money and it's upgrading your house. And she was,
Jim and I did speak yesterday and today too about, when I talked with the mayor, he had made a good point regarding homeowners versus the actual people who are living in the homes, because the letters went to the homes. So we were thinking about speaking with you tonight, actually, but he's not here, regarding looking at homeowners, who are the actual homeowners, and resubmitting letters to them, to make sure.
she was a landlord, and She
And,
didn't
and
get the letter, so-
that's what the mayor brought up, is could have been a possible problem, like, more people did not participate, so we're thinking definitely in phase two.
I'll get that
We need to-
together.
we need to, thank you very much.
We've got one out, in the, so I'll get it from you, and I'll go through each one of those sheets, and then we'll have a current.
Perfect, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Trustee.
Trustee Williams, there was a certain amount each homeowner along the tracks to receive, correct?
Yes, we took the lump sum that we got and we divided it by, the amount of homes that were on there, with taking out $120,000 for Candlelight Village. And each homeowner was, in the application, they were offered $3,300. And that money was for noise mitigation home improvements, which would be, noise attenuated windows that face the railroad, fencing, and, trees. They had the option to go out, decide what they wanted. They had to come back with two estimates, and then they had to submit that. And the estimates had to be from contractors that were licensed to work in the village, and then they had to submit those reports.
Trustee.
You mentioned budget reviews. How many reviews will there be?
As far as, for which
Well,
budget?
you said that for the new budget, you said you wanted people to tell you about availability for budget reviews.
Oh.
So I'm trying to find out how many reviews are there?
Typically, we plan for one, and then we have a secondary date in case there's overflow. Because at the budget review meeting, we go through each individual department, each individual fund and everything. So usually we have it on a Saturday in past times, and sometimes, if there's not a lot of discussion, we can get it all done in one day. Sometimes we end up rolling it over to the next week. But once the mayor's actually prepared for the budget, is usually when he asks everybody to bring their calendars and start thinking about when it can look.
Second thing, and Ms. Mohan isn't here, and the mayor referred me to him with the question. Something that your committee may want to consider is the compliance report I mentioned earlier. I just talked to Mr. Mohan. I think that may help out with planning the budget. Lastly, I had mentioned about the liquid invoices, bills that we have, and I was particularly concerned that we have bills that are 6 months old for $40 or something ridiculous like that. I say ridiculous, maybe it's not. Has your committee addressed those small amounts of money that we still owe? 90 days, 6 months?
We talked about, that would be the aging report. We talked about that at the meeting, and after the meeting, Mr. Mohan did send the committee the copy of the aging report, and then we are looking through it individually, and then we'll be submitting requests for items to be paid. And we had discussed the amount of $100. He was submitting us the entire report, but we also asked for him to come back to us with the breakdowns of $100 or less, and then how far out they are, 30 days, 90 days, so we can see, because we did bring that up based on your conversation, and as a committee, we decided that was something that we could handle.
And in progression, so once you identify the $100 or less that the village owes and pays, hopefully, then is there a program or a schedule in place to start attacking some of the others that are over $100?
Yeah, well, yes, we're looking at, after we attack those, then we will be looking at how to move forward in the aging report as far as bills that are coming out of certain funds that they actually have the funds to pay that, and kind of deciding how and why bills are getting paid. The theory behind it's happening is something that we will be discussing in our next meeting.
Thank you.
We'll come back to this in the future.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, trustee takes, we are implementing this administration a quarterly review of our budgets. The thing that slowed us down is because, we only have one accountant or fiscal person, Ms. Mohan. But we're going to be doing it to try to make sure that we know where we are based on at least every quarter in terms of our expenditures versus the money we have. Okay, and hopefully we'll be able to, in 6 months, tell you, this is what we got, this is where we are, and it should affect the aging report.
Yeah, and my concern with the delinquent bills that we have, and when the amounts are relatively small. So I'm concerned about that. I mean, if we owe someone $20,000, then I may understand if the village does not have that $20,000 to pay. But when it's $5, $8, $20, that concerns me.
I couldn't disagree with you at all. But my point is that by doing this budget review, we'll be looking at the bill, and as anybody know about that, as financial, you already pay off the lower bills as fast as possible, and then you go to the big ones as you can. So that will be part of it.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor.
Trustee?
Yes, Trustee Williams, is there any safeguards, or is there something that we, or budget and finance, I would like to see something that once we reach our limit of allotment from pulling from a fund, we did last year, we had in the budget, it was $300,000 that we would transfer, and that was budgeted, and that was no problem. But when it gets past that there needs to be some type of vote, legislation, something, somebody needs to know something to let us know that we're continuing to keep pulling from this particular fund, at least a notice that we exceeded our allotment, but we have to pay bills, so therefore that money is going to come out of there. Because that was something that the auditors did a couple of years ago, stated that when we pull out the funds, there needs to be some paperwork, there needs to be some authorization put there to state that the board did actually vote on taking that money out. I don't remember anything other than the $300,000 that we took out. Now, it may have been taken out, but I didn't see anything earmarked. So I think we need to have something there to say, okay, we have to pay the bills, but $100,000, $200,000, this particular money is coming out of the water fund. And, this is something that we need to do because we document when we pull out of the other funds, when we take out of the TIF funds or whatever, we document that. This also needs to be documented because I was really, really surprised when I found out that we had taken $900,000 this particular year out of water, and only $300,000 that I know that we had already talked about. So there should be something there. Not saying that we cannot. I mean, that's our enterprise. That's the only way we make. That's the only way the village makes money. But there should be something there, and it should be put back like we do when we have to borrow money from a bank. First come, you pay it out, you pay them back. So that's something that we need to look at, because if we didn't have that money, just think where we would be right now.
And I think that that's the purpose of the mayor creating the Budget Finance Committee, is, we entrust Mr. Rohan with our finances, and nobody is here to micromanage him. And I know that that's not the goal of this board, but the Budget Finance Committee was put into place to make sure that there are trustees as liaisons who would be able to see what's happening. And that's part of our goal. And I don't remember if you brought up the water or trustee Cates did a couple meetings ago, but I know that Mr. Rohan did tonight.
I brought it up and asked how much did we take out of it already.
Right.
But I'm still saying, even though, and I understand the Budget and Finance Committee was formed, but we need to know, and there needs to be some documentation in the minutes or something that we actually pull X amount of money out of that fund and have an ongoing balance to know that, okay, right now we pull $500,000, right now we pull $600,000. When are we going to start putting back when we get our money? That's something that we need to do, because it shouldn't get, we already have X amount, I think it's 1.2 or whatever, that we still owe bills, now $900,000 for this. Just think about if we didn't have that $900,000, where would we be? How would we pay the people? How would we cannot operate on money that is not earmarked for certain things. We need to operate within the budget, and that's the reason for a budget.
And that's what we plan on doing, is we talk about things, you brought up that, trustee Cates brought up a couple different things. Our goal is to go back to the committee, because trustee Myers and I don't have the answer.
No, I understand.
Our goal is to go back to the committee, review, ask those questions, and then just like we did this time, bring it back to the board.
Thank you.
We've already discussed ways to, I don't know if safeguard is the word I would use, but report. Make sure that, provide information. That's our goal.
That's all I ask. Thank you.
All right. Move to reports of departments, committees, and commissions. Fire Department, Chief Stoffringer.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. Over the past 2 weeks, Fire Department responded to 24 calls, 5 vehicle accidents, 3 fire alarms, 7 medical assists, 2 CO alarms, 3 gas leaks, assist another agency, 1 structure fire, wires down, and 1 spill alarm. As the board knows, our aerial truck was sent back to Spartan Motors for a recall on the chassis. And that's when I came to the board and asked for the money for tires. Well, en route out to Spartan, they have certified drivers pick up the engine and take it out there. The engine light came on. Spartan called me right away first thing Monday, let me know about this problem. And I informed him, I said, well, I'm gonna have to get a hold of Jack, check out the engine. I said, he informed me, we just put $6,000 into that engine. So I haven't heard back from my, gave him a call today, Spartan was there, but they didn't give a report yet. So as soon as I hear the report, and I talked with JW earlier, and he told me to mention it to the board, and as soon as I get some information, I'll get it to JW and he can get it back to you folks.
Mr. Mayor, Chief Stockton, you might want to tell him what that truck would be used for. I didn't know until you were telling me today.
What, the aerial is for all our commercial and all of our high-rise apartment buildings, you know, over at Stratford, or Stratford Village, and the Jeffrey Apartments, and Crossroads, and your all your automobile manufacturing and trailer companies out here, Roadway, Yellow, you know, everything out on the west side. So Spartan Motors, they've stood behind everything ever since we've been buying stuff from them. So we give them kudos for that. And this was a chassis recall, it's an ultra recall.
Can't hear you.
You want, Judy? No, and like I said, Spartan stands behind everything, and they sent the recall out, and they stand behind that chassis recall 100%. And that's where they send drivers out to pick the engine up and everything. So as soon as I hear anything else on it, I'll let the JW board know.
All right, thank you. Move to Police Department, Chief Kowalski.
Mr. Mayor, trustees, for the last period, we had 10 arrests, 6 felonies, 4 misdemeanors. We had 480 calls of service. And as I'm reading my cases of note, it kind of saddens me, but in a good way. This young man who came up today, who's on Bloom Trails ROTC, to see this young man come up, because several of these cases on January 11th, we had a juvenile male who was arrested for criminal trespass and resisting arrest. He was petitioned to juvenile court. Officers were called to Park Lane in reference to a stolen motor vehicle. That subject was arrested. It was another juvenile for possession of stolen motor vehicle. We also had investigators who received a call of an armed robbery. Of those individuals of that armed robbery, 2 of them were juveniles. 1 was an adult and charged with felony armed robbery. We also had another one where officers were called to suspicious circumstances, and the vehicle that these individuals were in was stolen out of another suburb, and they were all juveniles. So you can see where there was a pattern there. Lastly, we enjoy a great relationship with our schools here in Sauk Village, and we were called over to Rickover School the other day for a possible smell of marijuana. And our canine unit went out there and hit on a couple of lockers. And the school had, in fact, found a alleged controlled substance. So it's nice to see a young man like the individual who came up today from the junior ROTC. In addition, we continue to work with the Housing Commission. 2 weeks ago, it was reported that green stickers, which were identifying vacant homes, were being placed on numerous homes. I know Trustee Tate was concerned, So with that, we went out and put orange stickers right underneath those green ones, warning people that they should not enter those homes. And lo and behold, we received quite a few calls from individuals identifying themselves as being the owners and that they're working on the home. So it was a good effort on the officer's part to make sure that people know that although these homes are considered vacant, do not enter because you will be arrested. In addition, we have our cops officer who started the Chicago Police Academy on January 11th. He's doing quite well. And we're working with the Police and Fire Commission on replacing Officer Jacob Howard, who left and went to Arlington Heights. One other note for organizational change is Officer David Melichenko was reassigned to the investigative division to give investigator Rob Grossman a bit of a break since he's been on duty 24/7 for pretty much last year. So lastly, I'd like to report that Officer Huffnagel continues to work with Public Works on getting our police vehicles serviced and salvaged. We're trying to save money, so we identified the vehicles that we are not using, and we're cutting the insurance on those. We will be stripping those down, and Trustee Tate will let you know, because I know you mentioned you have somebody in mind for that. So we'll let you know but it all depends on Public Works and Kevin Waller. If it snows, you know, his guys are tied up. They do a lot of work around town, keeping the streets clean and trees trimmed and everything else. So with that, that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Mayor.
Justin?
Yeah, Chief, a couple of things. So I can get this straight, we're replacing two officers, correct? One with Cops Grant and one that actually resigned, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not in.
Now,
I would like to. No, just replace.
Just replacing.
Work with me.
And Cops Grant is a 5 year, well, we have
3 year.
No, we have to keep them for 5 years, correct?
Correct.
But they pay for 2, we pay for 3, correct?
No, they pay for 3, we pay for 2.
2, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's move to Administrative Services, Director Jasinski.
I think that Kevin's report.
Oh, you got coverage report? Okay, thank you. Public Works Department, Director Pascal.
First, let me say that the mayor's given us approval to hire 4 part-time people. I talked to Kevin, and he says that it's more important for them to be in the summer when you can do a lot more with it because they have to be with somebody. So we'll be doing that sometime later in probably March, April. But there have been 375 heads installed in the street light program we have. Speaking of vehicles, we're going to do a whole fleet management, fleet evaluation. The trucks were down for 2 weeks for hydraulic repair, scatter repair. So I understand. In the day-to-day regular operation of emergencies, all job directions, changes, department ordering, special seasonal event prep setup, vendor calling, work with all departments and public complaints. Mr. Trustee Tate, we know about that because Kevin had put it like this, let it be known pretty forcefully about the need for it. And also working in the village hall on plumbing, toilet sinks, replace a light bulb, several rooms, complete repair work, no boiler, we had a boiler problem for a minute, waiting on parts for the room heat, waiting for a service call on roof leak, might be warranted. Also waiting for repairs to FD bay heaters and roof leak. Potholes and asphalt. Taking resident calls on potholes, some of them come from me. Drove town, dropped 2 tons of coal patch in miscellaneous location. Water, day-to-day schedules and EME calls. Repaired 3 small problems at well house, 1 and 2. 1 small leak well, 3, replaced the regulator on the air compressor main station, and minor adjustments to clear faults. Also waiting on a scheduled upgrade to power lines due to underground fault at well number, well, he did really well, per ComEd. Getting ready to do the south side shutoff list. Garbage, day-to-day cleanup. Now, this is a good statement he makes here. If you see illegal dumping, please call the police or we can keep the town clean. That is a problem we're working on. Hydrants, repair and replacement. We will continue as conditions approve. So we haven't gone back in terms of losing any ground in terms of hydrant, but you know, we slowed down because of the winter. So we hope to finish that sometime in summer or early fall. Tree removal. At the same time, ash trees will be removed on a call-in complaint and will be evaluated to make safe. Winter tree removals will follow starting in January as conditions allow. Vehicles. Public Works is doing its best to keep all vehicles within the departments running safe. We are also trying to help each department in their repairs to keep moving forward. Vehicles are a big problem for us, folks. Sanitary sewer complaints. If a resident has a sewer complaint, please call the village hall during regular business hours. After, call non-emergency PD or Public Works. Staff will be called out to check the main sewer lines and will stop at the home to let you know what they found. If it is an internal problem, you will have to call a plumber. That completes Public Works report.
Fair. Is there an update on the key cards?
Yeah, the update is we had to technician out and he has to order some parts now. I guess, you know, it gets older, it took a little bit longer for us to get the cards. I mean, we've been accommodating people. If you need to access, we'll try to. We don't want to give out a lot of keys, but trustees, if you have one, no problem. We can get you one. But you know, it kind of, everything is connected, right? He was talking about bills with that paid, you know, because the person was holding up because they wanted their money. Then we got them to come out, and then he said, okay, where's the check? Put it up there, you got it. Now you got to order the parts. I'm expecting sometime end of this week, but I'll talk to Kevin. He's sick, so if he comes back to work tomorrow, day after, I'll ask him. And now I'll send out a note that you guys know. I estimate the time.
Question.
Trustee?
I'm one of the individuals that does not have a key. And so I've been locked out of Village Hall since the power failed. So how do I go about getting a key so that I can gain access?
You just said it. There's two trustees said they need a key, so I'll do it. No problem.
Can't find out when.
If he's come back, because he's the sole person that does the keys, we'll get it tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor. You made a statement that the ash trees are called to, in other words, someone has to call in to let the Public Works know that their ash tree is, or is it on a, because I know there's a whole community that ash trees out. I'm sure he knows about that, but outside of that, if the person has an ash tree that is dead or whatever, they should call in. That would be the best thing for them to call and to let everyone know that they need that ash tree removed.
Mr. Burns, you don't miss anything. You know. So, you know, I really can't answer that question. I think that the answer is no, but I want to give you the correct answer. I will, you know, when Kevin come back, I'll talk to him tomorrow and I will give you the answer.
Okay.
I mean, I think I know, but I want to make sure.
Okay.
You always call.
Just
You always call and let me know when I didn't do it right.
Yeah, because report. And the second thing, did we hire a full-time person for Public Works?
Yes, we did.
When was that person hired?
It's been 4 to 6 weeks ago. I have to get the exact date.
Because I never heard. I know we were in the process.
And I should have told you. I told you we were hiring one, and
Right.
You know.
I know that you said you wanted to put a list of part-timers together. I did understand that. But the last I heard that we were in the process, it was narrowing it down to one person. So Kevin's not here, so I can't ask. But you know, you're saying that we actually did hire that person for the
Yes,
6 weeks.
yes, we did. I'll send that out to you. Brian's here tomorrow. Sorry, I didn't tell you. We talked about it extensively. So you know, the issue was let him pick who he wants based on qualifications.
Absolutely. I just
I should have told him. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, move now to Administrative Services Director Jasinski.
Thank you, Mayor and Village Board. The ticket count for February 4th for code enforcement is 106 tickets. 33 of them are for no water service. 32 are for parking on the street during garbage day. 12 inoperable autos. one parking commercial vehicle and residential. There's a semi that keeps parking in Deer Creek. So Sue is, well, now there's two, I guess. I think he talked to Sue today about that. Failure to remove garbage cans, we wrote 1 ticket. Nuisance abatement 9. No certificate of occupancy 6. Failure to maintain property 3. And there's a few other tickets. The restaurant will be opening soon. We're waiting to receive the health inspection and fire report. Then the business license will be issued. They've been in one time to talk to me, and I gave them the applications and the phone numbers that they're going to need for their inspections. And Lola's daycare will be opening soon. She had a delay with the state, which has been resolved, so she should be opening. She actually has a business license, but she hasn't opened yet. And then Juan's Beauty Supply, they were located in Sauk Plaza, and now they're going into where the Do It Best is. That's that beauty place that they closed, and now they're reopening over at the Old Ace location. We continue to monitor the vacant houses. We're working well with the police department. We're waiting for the approval letter from JW. Then the police will be going out on the second phase and posting all the 88 plus homes that we have squatters living in. Once that happens, they will be given 5 days to contact me, and I'll direct them in what they need to do to get water service and occupancy, because they're squatting in these houses. The houses haven't been inspected. They don't have water accounts. We're losing a lot of money on this. And then if we don't hear from them, if they fail to respond to us, then we're going to send public works out to terminate services, whether it be digging the yards up or jetting them, to making sure the water is off at these homes. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we want to cut them off during the winter because we know what's about freezing, but we'll get it.
Question.
Trustee.
Which restaurant are you replying to?
The old restaurant right on Sauk Trail?
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
Goes to
I
IMF.
do have one question.
Trustee.
Did they pull any permits? I know that you're talking about having an inspection for health and stuff, but I know they did work. Did they pull any permits, or do they have to pull permits to do work on the inside? Because I know they had to work on some piping and plumbing.
Well, I don't know about the pipe and the plumbing. They didn't indicate that to me. What they have done over there is they've replaced the carpeting and changed it to tile. They changed all the seating and tables. What it appears to us is they did cosmetic work, and they don't need permits for cosmetic work. Sue went over there today to take a look, and they weren't there just by looking, and it looks like cosmetic stuff. We couldn't naturally get to the back. I've asked them on several occasions what kind of work they're doing, and he's just indicating to me it's cosmetic.
So in other words, when they do get an occupancy, we will check their electrical, plumbing, and heating, correct?
They're going to have a fire inspection, and they're going to have to turn in a heating certification to me, and the health department is going to have to go through to make sure everything is up to code.
Okay, I'm just wondering, just to get an occupancy permit, just for a business, do they have to turn in a plumbing cert?
No.
Oh, okay.
Questions?
Trustee.
I know shortly after the old owner closed, and I was in there, and the roof was practically caving in on the west side dining area. Do you know if there's any roofing work being done over there?
We have never caught them on the roof. I don't know. I mean, I don't know when they're working on the building, but, I mean, he does have the right to do repairs to his building. If there are repairs, he can do that, and if it's cosmetic stuff, he definitely don't need a permit. Now, if he done electric and plumbing and stuff, yes, we would require them to have a permit, but we can never get in there. They're not there I have one code person, so we don't have time to sit there and watch. I've sent her over there periodically, and all she sees over there is cosmetic.
Okay, one final question. What's going to be done with the debris from the old car wash that was torn down? They have not tried.
Well, they're
to
still
move it
working
out.
on that. They're gonna remove all that concrete, and then they have to grade that property and plant grass seed. They're not done with that yet.
Okay, so they'll be there for a while.
Well, they're still working on it. I mean, as they work on it, they're removing the concrete. They have to backfill that and plant grass seed to make it look like it was at its original state.
To your knowledge, there are no underground tanks or anything on their property, to your knowledge?
What was that?
There are no underground tanks or anything?
No,
on their property?
there is not none.
Thank you.
All right, moving to Sauk Village Homeland Security Agency, Assistant Director, Ahmed Darnell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Over the last 2 weeks, IESDA responded to 23 calls. The IESDA department responded to 2 fire alarms, 5 vehicle accidents, 2 smell of smoke, 3 CO investigations, 6 school patrol, 1 missing person, 1 power outage, 2 structure fires, and 1 wire spill. We've been pretty busy. Thank you. That ends my report.
All right, thank you. Move to Human Relations Commission, Commissioner Frank Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm happy to report that we have.
Hang on 1 second, I'll get you a mic here.
I'm happy to report that we have all our numbers for the human relations, and because of it was so late for them getting them all together, we will not be able to do a diversity dinner in the village this year. But when we get the invitation to go to other circles, I will give them all to them. But we have a full board now of members. They all been attended, so thank you very much.
All right, tonight we have before us, there's 2 new commissioners, and then we have 2 for renewal. 2 new commissioners, I ask for a motion to approve, is Renee Richardson and John Poston. Is there a motion to approve?
Are they here?
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Are they here?
Yes, they're here.
I know Mr. Parsons, but I don't know the other person.
Oh, I was told they're here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mr. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, will the clerk please call roll?
Burgess,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Myers, Hicks,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Williams.
All right, motion carries. I would ask for all 4 to come up for the swearing in. We have Linda Washington, Arlene LeVay, and Renee Richardson, and John Poston. She may do it over in the corner or the help.
That's fine, we'll just do it right here. Okay? Here, you guys. I'm just gonna say it once when you get it over. You guys state your name when I say state your name, okay? Okay, I. Having been appointed, state your names. Linda Washington. Renee Richardson. And your name? Okay. Having been appointed. To the office of Human Relations Commissioner. In the village of Sauk Village. In the county of Cook and Will. Aforesaid. Do solemnly swear. That I will support. The Constitution. Of the United States. The Constitution. Of the State of Illinois. And that I will faithfully discharge. The duties of. The office of. Human Relations Commissioner. According to the best of my ability. Thank you. I just need you to sign your oaths before you leave tonight.
All right, thank you very much. Now we have a full commission with a renewal and the 2 new commissioners. Thank you very much. That said, we'll move to Housing Commission, Commissioner Gary Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board. At the end of last week, Matt graciously informed me that the signs we were posted on the properties didn't comply with the state regulations, so we had to do a rapid order of signs. And thanks to one of the signs, we were able to get it done at a reduced price, which the housing committee. So this is the signs that going up on the houses that are being poured back. Okay, it complies with state regulation. The 10 houses we have scheduled for demolition starting Friday. We had to pull one because it's been challenged. The owner wants to try to rehab. So Thursday morning we didn't condemn papers on the other 9, and that will commit. Yesterday, with the help of Ed Myers, we received the dumpster count for the first 9 properties. It consisted of 61 dumpsters at a cost of $20,000. That bill will be submitted for reimbursement tomorrow morning. The other thing is the Housing Commission will meet February 11th, Thursday at 7 o'clock in the boardroom.
Thank you very much. Move to
Question for Commissioner Holcomb.
trustee.
The invoice we received that's going to be paid by your commission, is that reimbursable? The $482?
No.
Oh, okay, thank you.
All right, move to senior committee. Before I give the senior report, I'm officially informing the board that Rose Langston has resigned as chair of the Sauk Village Senior Committee effective immediately for personal reasons. I have accepted Rose's resignation, and until a replacement is presented to the board, the mayor will act as chair of the senior committee. Rose will remain on the committee and continue to assist with senior events. With that said, I'll read the report that Rose had ready. Says the senior committee, Sauk Village Open Senior Activities is now every Friday. Frank Williams and Steve Shemkis coordinating the event. Let's see here. I'm going to kind of skip through some of this stuff. Bev Stair continues Silver Sneakers fitness class from 10 to 11:15, I believe it is, a.m. every Tuesday and welcomes more participants. The ceramics group has opening for all seniors. They meet from 8 o'clock to 12:30 on Wednesdays. The paperback program continues to thrive with many participants. Thank you again for Trustee Poskin for your recent donation. The next monthly movie is Newsies, a musical, and it's co-sponsored with McConaughey Library, and that's on the second Monday, February the 8th, at the library at 12 p.m. Blood pressure screening precedes the movie. Light refreshments are served, compliments of the library. The Bloom Township Senior Committee Community Luncheon, I'm Getting Fat Tuesday, that's the title of it, is on Tuesday, February the 9th at Glen Woody Golf Club. Advanced tickets are required. Doors open at 11:30 a.m. The ticket deadline is Tuesday, February the 2nd for appointments. And or additional information, you can call 708-754-9400 and extension 244. Senior Wheels provides affordable transportation within the township and a few medical facilities out of the township. If you need to take advantage, you can call 708-754-8200. And you need to make an advance, you call them a day or two in advance to make arrangements. Reminder that the senior exemption or freeze application for 2015 must be completed in order to receive the exemption later this year. Seniors who turn 65 years of age may secure an application from Bloom Township Assessor's Office. The next Golden Agers at Jones Memorial Community Center will be meeting Wednesday, February 17th. Social hours from 10 to 10:30 a.m. Meeting and lunch served at 11:30 a.m. The annual dues are $5 and the cost of lunch is $5. You can call ahead for reservations at 708-757-5395. The committee's next meeting will be Thursday, February 11th at 7 p.m. That said, we'll move to the consent agenda. Is there any trustees that have anything on the consent agenda, any issues, any concerns?
Yes, Mayor.
Trustee Burgess.
Yes, I would like to have all of the items on the consent agenda voted separately. There are some things that I would have questions about. So I would like to have them the consent agenda be removed or have the items on the consent agenda be put in new business.
All right, so we'll move all the items from consent agenda. They will now become items 7G, 7H, 7I, 7J.
Mayor,
Trustee.
with regards to the consent agenda, and this is something that I brought up in a previous meeting, I would like to see that item not be listed as a consent agenda, because as you're doing it now, violates the law, and if you want to do them individually, as you just stated, then they should just be listed individually and not be listed on consent agenda. And I'm sure you're aware of, using your word, state statute. I'm sure you're aware that this, as you presented tonight, violates the state statute.
That's your opinion, so. And we move to item number 7.
No, that's the law.
Business. Item A,
You
motion
should learn
to
the
approve
law.
accounts payable and disbursements, January 13, 2016 to January 26, 2016, according to Sauk Village policy. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion and second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call roll.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Myers. Chase.
No.
Washington. Yes. Williams.
Motion carries. Item B is the BLR 14230, resolution for maintenance street and highways by municipality under the Illinois Highway Code. Is there a motion to approve? Yeah, motion. Is there a second? A motion and second. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Trustee.
And this is in regards to, because I didn't get a chance to, this particular resolution, maintenance of streets, is, since we're not getting CDBG grant money, what is this? Is this for the MFT?
Make sure I get the right one. There's two of them before us tonight. I believe this is the one here for $150,000 motor fuel tax for purpose of maintaining streets, highways under the applicable provisions of the Illinois Highway Code. So this was discussed last week. Didn't you get this in your packet? Last week?
That's what I was asking. That's what I saw it, but I'm just wondering, it didn't say anything about where is this going to be paid for with MFT money or not. I did get that. I got that notification. I'm just wondering what was it going to be paid with? Is it going to be paid with MFT since we're not going to get
Motor fuel tax.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, that was already voted on, not by us, but to the CDBG to us last year, right? Okay, so that was coming from the state and them.
There is no CDBG.
As of this year, no.
Okay, so I'm just wondering that, because I saw the amounts and I just was making sure that it is MFT money, and it is until it goes out, that's it.
Motor fuel tax.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call roll.
Burgess.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Myers. Chase. Washington.
Yes. Motion carries. We got item C, we got the BLR, this is under 05520, maintenance engineering, to be performed by consulting engineering. Is there a motion to approve? That motion, is there a second? Motion is second on the floor. Is there a question or comments?
Question.
Trustee.
Is this going to be performed by our engineering firm? It says consulting engineer. Is this going to be an outside engineering firm, or will this be performed by Robinson Engineering?
Robinson Engineering.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call roll.
Burgess.
Yes.
Yes.
Myers. Chase. Washington.
Yes.
Williams.
Motion carries. Item D, an ordinance amending section 18-29 fee schedule to Division 1 generally, Article 2, business license and standards, of Chapter 18, business and business regulations of the village code. Is there a motion to approve? A motion, is there a second? Second. A motion is second. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Trustee.
I did look over this, and we're going to raise the licenses. I know we haven't done it in a while, but I'm just asking the board to reconsider. We don't have but a handful of businesses. This is not going to generate a lot of money. Maybe we can let them know that we're giving them a pass this year because we don't. We're trying to help the businesses out, but to raise their business license, and we don't have but a handful of businesses at this particular point. I don't think it's going to generate enough money that's going to really mean a whole lot. I know we need money, but there's other ways to get it. I would rather us leave it as status quo for the licenses for right now, and trying to work with them and let them know that everybody's in hard times, and we're not out there trying to get every little dime and dollar out of, because we're only going from $10 to $20 on some of these things, and then we're looking at a second reinspection fee. Now the health part of it, I understand, have no problem with that. That we can, because that's brought down from the health department down to us. We've always said that whatever they charge us, we would charge the businesses. But as far as the license is concerned, I'm just thought that we would reconsider. Not saying that it would happen, but I thought we'd reconsider about raising the licenses at this time.
All right, just so we have clarification, we're not raising the licenses. What this ordinance is changing the fee structure for the Cook County housing health inspections. They raised the prices this year, so as you can see, what's crossed out is in item B, section 2, item B. They raised their prices from $60 for health inspections to $100. That's what we're changing in here. Everything else should remain the same. Is that correct, Sherry?
Yeah, that's correct.
Everything in here is as is. The only change was item section 2, item B.
Because the way it reads, the business licenses and standards, and I just want to make sure that we're not raising the licenses, and that's what I wanted to do.
It's just the health.
Right, the health, we've always raised that. Whatever they raise for us.
Everything stays the same with the health inspection.
But now, if we have to come out for if they have, what about the inspection? They're going from $10 to
That's
$20?
always been there. That was changed.
Okay, is it going to go from $10 to $20?
As it reads, it's the way it's been for how many years?
Yeah, it's been like it from the last time we.
So then, that part that's in here, that, okay, the only thing that you're doing is, you should just set the health inspection. You should have just said the health inspection.
Inspections are.
Correct.
So I changed it.
And that's part of their business license when I send the renewal out.
Correct.
Okay, if that's what it is, then it's on record that I have a problem with that if it's for the health inspection.
All right, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call roll.
Burgess.
Yes?
Jones.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Bates.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item is ordinance amending section 78-218, establishment of service, and section 78-222, reconnection of services, Article 4 of Chapter 78 of the Village Code. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion is first item. And second. Now, under the impression this came from the Public Works Committee, is that correct? This one here? This came from Trustee Burgess' committee?
Is this the one for the, because I see they added something else. This is for, the one that I wanted was to have the license, they had the water bill put into the homeowner's name. Because now, is there also an added reconnection fee increase?
If the service is off, that, obviously when they, the problem we're having is when they actually, the service is cut off and, because of non-payment of bill, and they would have to pay, that's what the reconnection fee is about.
I have no problem with that, but I'll be talking about raising the reconnection fee.
Well, if you're talking,
I'm looking at it right now, and it states that, that you're talking about raising a reconnection fee from $10 to $25, and also, now there is a deposit, that's been the same, but I'm trying, because my proposal, and also a reconnection fee from $25 to $50 for reconnection, My proposal was just to change the person that the water bill name is in from the resident to the homeowner. And that's what you guys had asked us to do because you'd have problems trying to connect and trying to talk to them. That's all I proposed. As far as raising rates, fees and anything like that, I said that I was against raising any type of fee at this particular point in time.
Well, you know, the reason we put it in there, we don't recoup the cost of people going out there to do it at $25. Yep, it's up to the board to vote
And you do understand what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know if you do, but the reason for me saying this is why are we raising fees and we're already pulling from a fund that's money is in there. We're going to put more money in to do what? I mean, why don't we keep the fees the way they are, put the water bill in the homeowner's name and go from there. At this particular point in time, I'm not looking to raise any fees in this village for anything, not right now. I mean, for us to make sure that we get our money, yes, because we do have that in place. Trustee Myers is doing that with his committee, and also with Sherry, they're going out and they're doing legislation to make sure that we get the money. But as far as raising anything at this particular point in time, I would like to see us stay status quo, but change the name of the person that water bill is in.
My final comment is, at $25 an hour, when we send people out, we're not recouping how much it costs to send somebody to talk to. It's up to the board to vote however they want to.
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee?
I'm trying to remember if this was at the last budget meeting that we discussed, but one of the things that we looked at was looking at fees, both for businesses and for homeowners, and looking at, because of the increase in cost of living, or, you know, the increase of the bills that as a municipality we have, one of the things we looked at is making small adjustments in the increase in fees, because as we know, we're not home rule. We cannot go out and make large adjustments in taxes and things like that. And not that anybody up here would necessarily want to do that. But at some point in time, we have to look at the ordinances that we have on the books that have been there for years. Some of our ordinances and our fees go back 10, 15, 20 years, where the money just, inflation and everything else, you know, 1980s dollars are not 2016 dollars. And I know that that's something that we talked about as a board to review. And, you know, nobody up here is wanting to pay for the village on the backs of our residents. We're not saying that, but it's time that we have to be realistic, because our residents want services, our residents want to make sure that we're available to do things for them. And in order to do that, we have to be able to actually handle business in 2016 times. And I think that that was something that, as a board, I thought that we agreed on.
Trustee Williams, two things. One, if you, I've just got to read it. If it's after hours, they're charged $60. So if they come after hours, or we have to have somebody come after hours, that's already $60. So this is doing regular hours from 25 to 50. And the second thing, how can we charge more money in the water when we've already spent $1 million that we still owe? I mean, what are we going to keep throwing money into that fund until we bring that down and show that we're trying to do something with that? I'm not looking to try to raise any more fees or any more water rates, anything else, until we get that under control. When we get that under control and see that we don't have to keep going to the well every 5 minutes for that, because if we didn't have that money, if we didn't have that extra money that we got from the water department, just think what the water department can do with that money that we taken from them to pay bills or whatever it is we got to take that money for. So I'm not looking right now to raise anything for the residents of this village when it comes to services as far as water is concerned. I mean, we've raised enough. Everybody got their water raised. It's now $7.50 per thousand, and that's an increase of 100% over the last 4 years. So if we can't manage that, getting an extra $2 or $3 or whatever it is, maybe 10,000 for the for the year, that's not going to make or break us. But we have to show some time. Yes, we do have to keep up with times, and that's what we did. That was the reason why we raised the water rates, is to keep up with inflationary time. So that's the reason why I was adverse to raising anything right now. But to your answer, Mr. Fairman, there is a charge for after hours, and that's $60, and that's already in there.
Well, no, you know, it takes two people to go out there, and our employees make over $25 an hour. It takes more than 2 hours for them to go drive out there and come back. So that's fine with me. We're not making any money on it.
It takes 2 people to cut the water on and off? Oh, okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Comment. We just levied taxes and all good things, and I say good things facetiously, on our residents out here. They're going to be paying a lot more in taxes as we go forward. So I don't understand why we're now going to smack them in the mouth with a water increase. People, especially those on fixed incomes, and even those who are employed, cannot afford us to continue to tax them to death. Sure, they want services. And I spoke with a lady at the last meeting who had to make a determination between buying medication and paying a water bill. That is not the position to put it in. And I think this board would be remiss to continue to balance budgets that don't exist on the backs of our residents. We've got to be more respectful of our residents.
Make sure to clarify something. We are not raising water rates. This is for reconnection fees. So your statement is incorrect because we're not raising the water rates. We're raising, again, before the board tonight and before the board last week was to raise the reconnection fees.
That included. I stand corrected. I am opposed to raising any fees, and call them what you want. Any fees on our residents.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call roll.
Burgess?
No.
Jones?
No.
Myers?
Yeah.
Tate?
No.
Washington?
Yes.
Williams? Mr. Mayor?
Yes. All right, item F, we're going to table item number F. So we're moving to item number G. Motion to approve regular board meeting minutes for November 10th, 2015. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second? Second. That motion is second. Questions or comments? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call roll.
Burgess?
Yes.
Jones?
No.
Myers?
Yeah.
Tate?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Williams? Yes.
Motion carries. Motion to approve committee meeting minutes for December 1st, 2015. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, is there a second? Got a motion, and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call roll.
Burgess?
No.
Jones?
No.
Myers? Tate?
No.
Washington?
Yes.
Williams? Yes. Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Item I, motion to approve special meeting minutes for December the 8th, 2015. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion, is there a second? A motion, and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Village Clerk, please call roll.
Burgess?
No.
Jones?
No.
Myers?
Yeah.
Tate?
No.
Washington?
Yes.
Williams? Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Item J, motion to approve regular board meeting minutes for December the 8th, 2015. Motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion, is there a second? Yeah, motion and second. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Trustee?
Yes, in those minutes, under accounts payable, I made a statement that I was adverse to accounts payable because it was a immediate check. There was nothing in here that stated that I made that statement. And in all the states that trustee asked what was the emergency and why they were written. But I did make the statement that why should we approve something that has already been written? That wasn't in the minutes. I'm hoping that's going to be in the next minute, because I said the same thing at another board meeting. We haven't gotten those minutes yet. That why are we approving monies that's already been paid? So that's not in here. It just, gives a quick summary. And I do want to know, there's a lot of things that are in here. Certain things are summarized, and certain things are long handwritten. We have 5 or 6 paragraphs. If you're going to have 5 or 6 paragraphs on some things, then have 5 or 6 paragraphs on others. Don't just say a person spoke and sat down, next. If you're going to itemize and you're going to talk about in great length of one person that's speaking about something, then it should be done, all of the people that speak, it should be done and not just short-sighted. So that's something that I've asked. I'm asking about this right now as far as why that wasn't put in here. And, when you look at the minutes, it doesn't even look like I even said anything about why the handwritten checks were even brought up, because they're not even, they're not accounts payable. They're accounts paid. That's my comment as far as the minutes being done.
Any other question or comments? Okay. Hearing none, Bush Hart, please call roll.
Burgess.
No.
Jones.
No.
Myers. Tiggs.
No.
Washington.
Yes.
Williams. Mr. Mayor.
Yes. All right. Move to item number 8, miscellaneous comments from the Mayor Board of Trustees. Mr. Williams.
I would like to know if our attorneys could provide some information to the board for me. Number one, information about a consent agenda. This is probably the 6th time that we've talked about the consent agenda, and if it's legal and if it's not. And since we were on the consent agenda topic, I've been researching it, and I found nothing on the Illinois Compliance State Statute. I found nothing on any place that I was looking at. The only thing that are giving me anything are Robert Rules of Order talks about consent agendas, policygovernmentsconsultants.com talks about consent agendas, and Muni Code talks about it. All of whom say are completely legal, completely permissible, and are used to speed through the voting process. Usually, as they were describing, which is how we always use them in the practice, usually if you have a business meeting prior to your board meeting and you discuss certain items, and if there's a general consensus, or there's a lump sum of items that can be placed together, such as reports, such as financial documents, such as board meeting minutes, they're usually put in this area to be voted on because they're of similar description. So that's what I'm finding. But this was just a 10 or 15-minute search on Google. So I just wanted to know if we could get something legal that can inform the board. So we either know that what we've been doing for at least the last 10 years since I've been on the board is either right or it's wrong, and then we can adapt and move on and not have to have this conversation every time we have a board meeting in general. Also, information that I would like to see is elected officials as it relates to personnel. I know that we had 2 meetings where there were discussion, maybe is the best word I might use, of how elected officials relate to each other and what is the best way to discuss that, handle that, in what is the best forum. And I know that we brought it up in executive session to talk about maybe it's best
as a board to discuss if there's an issue between one trustee or another, or one elected official and another, doing so in executive session under personnel to allow each individual the opportunity to say what's on their mind, discuss what's happening, and formulate a plan so we can move forward. We were told that that can't happen. Okay, fine. I think that elected officials, I would like to know the definition of personnel, because we're on payroll, we are a part of the village, so I'd like to know that. And I'd also like legal guidance on if that's not the appropriate setting. I personally don't think, say, a committee meeting is the appropriate setting. So what is the appropriate setting without the violation of the Open Meetings Act, where you could have 2 or more trustees allow the opportunity to discuss a problem as it relates to them individually, but as it relates to the village as a whole? I think it's something that definitely needs to happen, but I just don't know how it could. I know that before we did have residents, and I know that the Human Relations Commission years ago talked about mediation, talked about, Cameron Pruitt brought it up, talked about mediation, talked about, going through, and we never went through with it as a board. There's got to be something out there. I'd like to get information on that. And also, regarding the minutes, I know that the minutes were removed from the consent agenda, and according to the research that I did today, they can be approved on a one lump sum in the consent agenda because they're all of like kind. But I know that there was question, I'm assuming they were removed because there was question about a couple of the sets of minutes. And just as a reminder, minutes don't have to be verbatim. The minutes are done by the village clerk, and that's who creates the minutes. They don't have to be word for word. I know that we've talked about a summary. I think that a summary should just be used in all cases. So, because it's just too much. When people say, I want this in the minutes, just as a reminder, every person has the opportunity to come and listen to the tapes. The village clerk has said that before. The village meetings are taped, so if it's not in the minutes, you have the opportunity to look at the tape, I can't look at the tape, hear the tape, and hear what happened. But if, I know that my request for the attorneys, they're obviously not emergent, because I mean, I don't even know about that. But, so if you could just please provide that information, because I think as a board, we do have difficulty communicating, and I think it needs to stop. Thank you.
Trustee Burns. Trustee Tate.
A couple of things. I had a resident to inquire about having one night a week where the village hall is open a little later, which give people who work time to get here to pay bills or take care of village transactions. Is that a possibility?
Well, so as of right now, there's not. We have the drop box, which is on the side. If anyone's paying with a check, they can pay through there. They can also pay online if they're paying with a credit card. Years ago, probably 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, when we were at the old police station, in that building, they were open on Tuesday nights, every other Tuesday night, I believe. And we didn't get enough residents in here, so at that time, they decided that it wasn't worth paying an employee their hourly wages, because we weren't making that out on business that we were doing that night. So they eliminated that. And then when we moved over here without no security, like at the police station, we always had the police there. There's nobody here. So they quit doing that. It wasn't feasible financially.
Plus with the newly taking credit cards, doing things online, making it now more accessible, and then also with the drop box we got on the side.
Okay, well, obviously it's a concern from some residents, and I don't know how many. Maybe they'll eventually come forward and state their need to have later hours. One thing that was mentioned several months ago, and I thought that there was an agreement to provide accounts payables to the board, and it was discussed by one of the trustees, and I thought there was an agreement that that be done, but I have not personally received accounts payable. I'm sorry, accounts receivable is the word I'm looking for, accounts receivable. what is the status of that? If anyone could answer.
I'll check into it. Either I or DW. We're checking into it.
Okay, just for Trustee Williams, you brought it up, and for your help, for your knowledge, and to educate the mayor a little bit. 65 ILCS 5/3.1-40-40 is the state statute, as he says, that concerns consent agendas. Basically, the document states there has to be a unanimous, which means everyone, unanimous vote for consent agendas. That's what it says. I'm not making it up, and I gave you the site, and unlike the mayor who likes to tell me the state statute, I just give you a site. And when a person asks for information, and non-leaders will not understand this. When a person asks for information, yeah, you're the biggest non-leader ever. And that's right. Keep coming at it. Keep coming. When someone asks a question.
All right. Let the trustee have his say.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anyone who's been in corporations or who've had leadership positions know that when someone asks for information, you don't say state statute. Most people will have a copy of it for you to read along with them, make sure they're telling the truth when they read it. But when you don't know what you're doing, you say state statute. You say it's in the budget. A lady told me she has a cockatoo that you can teach to talk. And you can teach that cockatoo to say, state statute, it's in the budget. The cockatoo does not know what either of those mean, but it will say it for you. So anytime as a quasi-leader, you tell somebody state statute, it would help if you knew what you were talking about. Thank you.
Trustee Jones.
All I have to say is by not rectifying the situations that we have across this board that has coming up twice in meetings, this situation continues to escalate into other situations. So as a leader, I would expect some type of guidance or mediation so we can rectify all these situations, so we can sit down and get things moving instead of diverting them into all this other stuff, and we can actually handle some business here. But I understand you didn't want to play favoritism, but by not rectifying the situation, you are playing favoritism to the other side. I'm done.
Trustee Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to remind everyone that we will be having rehearsal again this coming Saturday at the Community Center at 11 o'clock to 1:30 for Are You My Neighbor's play that we will be performing on Friday, April the 15th at Rick Over Junior High School. I also want to announce that we have a up-and-coming child star that is a celebrity that is doing very well on the circuit that we were able to secure that's going to come, and they're very excited about coming to Sauk Village, and I think that the students of Rick Over as well as the residents in Sauk Village will be very entertained by this child star's performance that's going to be in the play. So if you want to participate, let your neighbors and your friends know. Also, we will be having our neighborhood watch meeting on Monday, February the 8th at 7 o'clock at the fire station. And we look forward to brand new block club captains, or if you just want to come and get involved in just for the play. And I want to say that the rehearsals are only going to be for February and March. and then we're gonna be done. So we are getting into character, we're giving people main parts of this part, so we had auditions and now we have our characters, so if you wanna participate, we have several block clubs and captains in the audience tonight, you can see them. Other than that concludes my report, Mayor.
Trustee Burgess.
Yes, Mayor, I have several things. First of all, I was looking at the committee meeting agenda and it was discussed about the questions and comments, but it didn't make it to the to this agenda as far as being voted on. Was there a reason why?
Board asked to table it.
So they asked the table that
They wanted to combine the elected officials portion with the
They wanted to combine elected officials portion with the audience portion.
and it was never done. Okay.
May I clarify what happened, because I brought that up, Trustee Burgess. The question that I brought up was the fact that a policy concerning public comment had been submitted to the ordinance committee. And for whatever reason, it does not appear that that policy was taken into consideration. And Trustee Williams said that they had pros and cons on 3 minutes versus 5 minutes. There was nothing said about the other part of the revision, which was to allow residents to speak on any subject at any meeting. So I'm not sure what it looks like, but the policy, and I had a hand in crafting part of that, and I didn't expect it to be just thrown completely out. I expected some exchange on, we're not going to put this in here because of, and as I said to Trustee Williams last week, and she feels that we're at a stalemate, is that if she can convince me, or at least help me understand why granting a resident 3 minutes to speak, as opposed to granting that resident 5 minutes to speak, is better, I would concede. I'm not digging a hole saying 5 minutes is a make or break all, but I like to have some rationale from changing that draft policy. Now the other part of that was the policy concerning trustees primarily, and their ability to speak more than once, not at all. And I asked for all of that to be tabled. And I had expected the ordinance committee to go back and take a look at it, put it on the agenda for the next committee for full discussion so that everyone could be on the same sheet of music. So I'm the one that initiated it being, both of those documents being tabled for those reasons. Now, whether or not they appear on the committee meeting agenda, I have no idea, have no control over. But both of those documents should be discussed in total so that we all have an understanding. And whereas the ordinance committee is not spinning their wheels, the public comment document has been with ordinance for about 6 months now. I do not think it takes me personally 6 months to change 3 minutes to 5 minutes and to change where a resident speak on any topic at any meeting. You could do that in 10 minutes maybe, writing it, longhand. It does not take 6 months. So that is the reason that the typed version of that ordinance was drafted, so they can simply look at it and read it, and rather than give them a handwritten. So I'm responsible for that.
Okay, well, I'm asking now the mayor and the clerk that makes the agenda, can we put this back on the committee meeting of the whole for next week so we can finally take care of this? Whatever we have to iron out, we can iron out at that time, so we can have this voted on by the first week in, or second week rather than February, because we've been going over this for quite a while.
We'll have to see if the ordinance review committee has had time to go through it, because the trustee asked for it to go back to the ordinance review committee.
Okay, well, okay, but I'm just wondering, can we, instead of trying to tie more things into it, make it more complicated, can we just deal with the questions and comments in 5 minutes that we originally asked for for the 5 minutes, from 3 minutes to 5 minutes, and questions on any topic. Can we just deal with that, put that on there, and go forth with that? That's something we've been asking for about 4 or 5 months. So is that something that we could at least put that on the next committee meeting and deal with that? Now, as far as everything else that was done later and we reinstituted something different, I can understand that they have to go and review that. You're asking them to do more, you're asking that committee to do more than what they were initially asked to do.
Trustee, what you've asked is for an ordinance to be sent to the ordinance review committee and to look at certain things, 3 minutes versus 5 minutes,
Yes.
and other things. The ordinance review committee has reviewed it. The ordinance review committee came back
Okay.
with their recommendations. 4 times, the ordinance review committee has come back with their recommendations. So.
Why don't we vote on it?
Again, well, because the trustee last Tuesday night asked for it to go back to the ordinance review committee.
But that's because, he stated that's because there was more things added. I'm talking about, can we just go back and the ordinance review committee chairman is here, to just comments and questions, 3 to 5 minutes. That's all we've asked. Everything else, because that's something new as far as the trustees being asked questions or going back and forth. I thought it was just simple. Is that something that, because you're right, we've talked about this. Can we just deal with that right now instead of complicating things?
Well, we'll see the next time, when the ordinance review committee presents it back to us, we'll put it back on the agenda.
I just spoke with the chair of the ordinance review committee and as the co-chair. What you missed last week, Trustee Burgess, was we had a pretty lengthy discussion about this. And we talked about how the board has reviewed it multiple times, the committee has reviewed it multiple times. And at this point, the committee doesn't feel that there's anything that they can do to change it. Because it's these 2 separate items that we've gone back and forth about, and we don't have a consensus on this board, one way or the other. So what I just asked the chair, and him and I agree, is what I think we can do is if each individual trustee can email the chair and myself your opinion on those 2 items.
Which 2 items are that?
The 2 items we've been going back and forth about.
I've made my opinion, trustee, I made my opinion clear back when we presented it to.
Absolutely.
And so it hasn't changed. I don't know why we have to keep doing this. It seems like it's a stall tactic.
Because we're not in agreement, trustee.
We take votes up here all the time. It's never going to be a
And
complete
you know what, that's a
consensus.
very good point, because that's exactly what I said on Tuesday. What I said on Tuesday was, we've discussed this as a board multiple times. The ordinance review committee has discussed this as a committee 4 times. They brought it back. I said that I didn't think the ordinance review committee needed to review it again, because once it's up here, it's gonna be voted on. It's gonna fail, or it's gonna pass. But either way, it's going to be voted on. And if it
That's
fails,
all it
then
needs
we
to
go
be.
back.
That's all it needs to be done.
Well, thank you, trustee. So we don't need a committee meeting agenda then? We don't need the ordinance review committee to do. You and I are on the exact same page. It needs to be on the next board meeting agenda. It needs to be.
Well, I'm
voted
sure
on.
the other trustees
It
have
passes.
some say-so in that, but I'm just saying,
I'm saying, we agree. It needs to come up here and it just needs to go for a vote, because it's either gonna pass or it's gonna fail.
absolutely.
Because those are the only 2 items of contention. And I think that, talking about the 3 minutes and things like that, last week at the committee meeting agenda, we had one long statement that was separated very skillfully and very professionally by multiple people. And not one person who came up to that mic went over 2 minutes and 35 seconds. That was a perfect example of why 3 minutes is plenty of time. Because when you have something to say and you orchestrate it and you take the time, you can make it be said, you can make it a part of public record, and that was a perfect example of why 3 minutes is perfect. Why, in my opinion, you don't need more than 3 minutes. But again, I'm just one trustee. But as you just stated, it needs to come up, it needs to pass, it needs to fail, and then we need to move on. Because going back and forth, it is stalling. I don't know that it's anybody's tactic, but it's stalling the process at this point. So if it's just on the February 9th agenda, pass and fail, it is what it is, we move on to the agenda.
Thank you. The second thing I have, Mr. Mayor, you put out a meeting calendar for 2016, what days we're going to meet and not meet. was that ever voted on? Is that, and I have the lawyers here now, was that ever voted on by this board that we cancel X amount of meetings? I saw that there were meetings that were canceled. I never got a chance to vote on anything. I know last meeting was not a voting meeting, so was the calendar you put out, was it voted on? And I'm asking the lawyers, does it have to be voted on, the calendar that the mayor puts out as far as meetings? Or he can state, or can he just put what meetings he doesn't want to have and go from there? Or is it supposed to be, I thought it would be with the board's approval?
Last year, we had 11 less meetings. This year, I think we're down to 9 less meetings. The mayor has to put out before the end of the year, or by the end of the year, the meeting schedule for the following year. So the meeting schedules is out there for meetings that we plan on having. If there's any additional meetings to that, there's special call meetings that can be called. But again, that is something that as a mayor, that I have to make sure is out by the end of the year.
Mayor, my question is that calendar, and I'm asking the lawyers, is that calendar to be voted on? Or can the mayor arbitrarily say, okay, we have 3 meetings this year and that's it? Is it voted on by the board, or is it not voted on? Or can he put out a calendar without the boards at least vote on it? I mean, it's the calendar of the meetings. Should it go before the board to be voted on, or does it not have to go before the board? And I'm asking you as our legal counsel.
It's generally set by the mayor and clerk.
So they can tell us how many meetings we can and cannot have, correct?
Right.
Okay.
It's with a degree of reasonableness on it. You know, they can't just
I
set
didn't.
one schedule, but.
I mean, because it was just given to us, no explanation. Here it is. This is how many we're gonna have. No input, no rhyme or reason. Okay, we're saving money. If we're saving money, if we're saving cost initiative, it shouldn't be 1, 2, or 3. It should be the whole crew save money. So therefore, if I'm going to give up, which I have no problem, giving up my salary or whatever it is I get paid for a meeting 5 or 6 times a year, fine. But it's just like a partnership. A true partnership is when everyone is involved, not just some. So if I'm going to give up and the rest of the trustees are going to give up their pay, I think the clerk and the mayor should donate their portion of that prorated, whatever it may be, back to the village coffers. And that's all I can ask for. So if we're going to be cost initiative, let it be cost initiative. Even though it's a forced cost initiative, fine. I'm not complaining about that. But if you're going to do this, and the reason why you said you're doing this is because it's cost initiative, then let everyone participate in cost initiative. I don't want to hear Constitution states that I get paid. Really? Constitution doesn't state that. Why don't you give back to the village? I understand that you do X amount, X, Y, Z, but that's what you signed up for when you got and took office. So at least you could show at least a little and donate that particular portion of your salary back to the village for those meetings that were not called. And my last statement is, I don't really know where to go with this one, but we as a village need to look at a lot of different things, man. I saw that you didn't want to take the questions from the school board. You didn't want the school board to talk because it was an item on the agenda. But the school district is part of this village too. I know they have their separate taxing body. I know they have their separate board. When we go there, they give us the courtesy to talk about whatever at a certain period of time. You have to wait till you get to that point. But they give us the courtesy. They give you the courtesy to make a statement at a particular time. They came to ask you to do something at that particular time because of what I guess they heard or whatever, that we need to quit this. That's my kids. That's my kid. This is my. All these kids, when they walk out this building, when they walk out any building, when they're in this village, are the village kids. We have 4 taxing bodies. but we have one set of residents. Yes, they pay taxes to different entities, they do. But to at least give them at least something, an audience, because they never turned us down. When you came to the school board to make a comment or to do a resolution, or whatever, they tell you you can't do it right now, it's not on the agenda. That's why I wanted anything on the agenda to be able to be talked about. But for the school district to come in and have a statement that's something they need that's near and dear to them to discuss something, I think we need to hear it. If things were done in the light, and it should be answered in the light, not in the back. So I think that we should think about at least some type of way that we need to accommodate, because they do accommodate us. I have no dog in the fight because I don't pay taxes in 168. But to hear that and not even give them an opportunity, yes, you probably could have gave it without any comment, so that there would be no rebuttal, but at least they could have had a chance to say what they had to say and we move on. But I just think we need to relook at that, because those same kids, even though, you know, they're the school district, they have this and that, they're our kids. If something happens to those kids in Sauk Village, it's not going to be a finger pointing to the school district because they came out of the school or they came out of Village Hall. It's going to look at the village. That's all I have. Thank you.
One final comment for Trustee Williams. You mentioned that the last, and don't worry about it, you mentioned that people had used 2 minutes and 55 seconds, I think you said, to make that comment, which kind of demonstrates why it should be 3 minutes instead of 5. But you failed to take into consideration how many residents have been escorted by the police away from the podium who did not get everything in 3 minutes. Now, if you recall, not too long ago, we had a lady that came here who complained about Panera Bread, who had difficulty speaking, and she could not get everything out in 3 minutes. So she was told her 3 minutes were up. And she basically sat down without completing her thoughts. And if you want to use a comparison, I think you should go back and compare how many people have been escorted out of here, away from the podium, told to sit down when that 3 minutes were up, and then compare that to all the people you say can do it in 2 minutes and 55 seconds. I think the comparison is necessary if you want to get to the truth. We keep deciding, oh, this is the truth and this is not. You do a comparison, and then whatever that falls, that's where it falls. But you do a comparison, you just don't assume that any one position is right and everybody else is wrong. And Mr. Mayor, I yield the floor to you.
Thank you, Justin. So, all right. I was gonna say I didn't read it. I know you don't like me. So, all right. First of all, public hearing on the closing of St. James. That's going to be at Boone Township High School. It's going to be on February the 9th from 3:30 to 9 p.m. We're asking as many residents as possible to go and attend this public hearing. This is an important public hearing. This is about the closure of St. James Hospital and tearing down approximately more than 2/3 of the hospital. Eliminating the emergency room, where the next nearest emergency room in Illinois would be Olympia Fields, which is approximately 4 to 6 miles away. It set out a task force with a bunch of other mayors to try to see if we can at least keep an emergency room at St. James, because that's what's important for our communities, to make sure that we have an emergency room close enough for our ambulances to get there, and for our residents. So we're asking everyone to please try to go to the public hearing somewhere between 3:30 and 9 p.m. It's going to be a lengthy time. This is being held by, I don't have it in front of me, I think it's on my blog, it's on my mayor's Facebook page. but I believe, if I remember right, it's being held by the Illinois Health Department. But don't quote me on that, I have to double check it. If you want all the information with what's going to be discussed, feel free to go out there and grab that information. As it was mentioned earlier tonight, we're getting close time for that budget year. Looking for the trustees to send your recommendations. I'm going to be asking that look at last year's budget. It will probably be a little bit similar, maybe a little bit tighter. As we all know, Springfield still has not passed a budget. Last year's budget for Sauk Village was in a worst case scenario based off of what Governor Rauner, when coming to office, he said he was going to do. That was cutting our own, we call it LGBF funds. That's our municipal funds. He was talking about cutting that. We did see that the state legislative did not allow him to do that, so we're still doing somewhat good. If you look at the budget in the worst case scenario, and as a village, we're running pretty good based off of the information that we had back then. This next year's budget is probably going to be pretty close to the same, but again, with more cuts. And I've already talked to Mohan. I think the department heads know that we're going to have to look at it very seriously as we go into this next year. I was talking to some state representatives, and last year they were thinking that maybe they could have something passed, a budget by somewhere within the first quarter of this year. They're talking now that it could go all the way until November of this year before they have a state budget. So we've given the information out there, how to reach your state representatives. We're asking that everyone write your state representatives and ask them in a nice way to please meet with all groups, not just the Republicans, not just the Democrats, but you've got your four main people. You've got your House and your Senate. You've got both your minority leaders and your majority leaders to sit down with the governor and get a budget passed. If you watch the news lately, it's affecting our schools, it's affecting hospitals, it's affecting nonprofit organizations, and it's definitely affecting municipalities. So we will look at the budget as a worst case scenario based off the information that we're getting out of Springfield. So just kind of let everyone know about that. Consent agenda, I know there was been much talk about that. I think about the consent agenda, the reason why the mayor asked, is there any questions or comments or any concerns or like to have anything removed, is that so things can be removed. That's the way it's supposed to be done. That's the way we do it, okay? If someone doesn't speak up and ask for something to be removed and then they vote no for the consent agenda, they had their opportunity, okay? And that's the way, talk about educating the mayor. I've been doing this for quite some time. I've taken plenty of training. We talk about consent agendas almost every IML because it comes up. So, there's been plenty of training on consent agendas and about how you run board meetings. Also talking about, time limits, and there's talk about time limits for residents. One reason why the board has before them a time limit for the board is because it's something we brought back from IML. Not only because of IML, but because residents have come to the podium and said, I get 3 minutes and you guys get to sit there and talk all you want. So, that's another reason why there is a time limit ordinance for this board at regular board meetings. We're not going to limit the time when it comes to, when you're at committee meetings, when you're talking about something, that's where you brainstorm, that's where you spend your time going back and forth. So, that ordinance that will probably be coming back before the board, it sounds like in a couple weeks, that is about regular board meetings so we can get business done. So that there's not rambling going on back and forth. So, and again, I tell the trustees, look at the state statute. That's what I was told. Now, I don't ever remember telling a mayor, hand feed me. I think about the statement, I quote it up, so I don't know if I get it right. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Somebody can hand feed you and give you the information every time you ask for it, or you can say, here's where you go find the information, and while you're looking for that information, you're learning. Over the years, I've gone through state statute over and over and over, and that's how you learn. And again, so So
Revision
we got-
one on
we got
consent
that.
agenda. Revision one on consent agenda. You should learn how to
Trustee,
read.
you're out of order.
And you're sitting up and lying.
So,
You're lying.
you yield the floor, trustee, you're out of order.
You're lying. And what are you gonna do? Spank me?
And- With that said, I got a statement here and I'm asking for a motion. As mayor, I admit that I made a mistake appointing a new elected trustee to the Parks and Recs. I made this appointment based on what the trustee said he was going to do for the youth of this community. However, there has been no new programs, and I have received numerous complaints from village residents concerning the lack of even a plan. I have tried to work with this trustee and offered my assistance. However, he has refused help and insisted on doing things on his own. I have no other choice but to ask for a motion to remove Trustee Jones as chair of the Parks and Recs Committee. I ask for a motion.
Is this on the agenda, Mayor? No. I thought we couldn't vote on the agenda.
I ask for a motion second on the floor first.
I'm asking, can you put this to a motion on something
There's a
that,
motion second before we talk about it. Is there a motion?
No.
I got a motion, is there a second?
You said that okay, I'll give you a second so we can talk about it, so. There's a motion and a second. Talk.
The appointments,
who made the motion?
I did.
And who seconded it? Okay.
The appointments are by the mayor, and it's done in miscellaneous, so.
Nope.
And this is a removal. Any other questions or comments?
Yes, I have a
I got a comment. My comment is, you a lie. I'm gonna tell you why. You have not extended your hand out to me for nothing. So what are you talking about? I've been talking to you since last week, and you haven't responded to anything that I was saying. So how can you sit there and lie, right? It's on tape. I mean, I've asked for direction on this. I asked for direction in executive session. So what part of me not asking for help or what complaints that has never been brought up to about Parks and Recs? For number one, there's no money been funded to Parks and Recreation. Number two, everything that's been done has been a setup. If I do take any money in for Parks and Recreation, I take money for basketball. All of a sudden, if I do that now, I got money in my hand. I'm not taking money in my hand until I can have a program put in place. I can't get the volunteers the way I want to get the volunteers in because I'm sitting there wasting too much time on diversions. I got a diversion over here for everything that her King David tell her to do, and that was put in place for that specific reason. She was solely put there on Parks and Recs for a diversion. She has no intentions of doing anything other than, you can ask any committee member that was there, have any comments have been said from her or come out of her mouth to bring anything to these kids. You're gonna do what you wanna do. You have the votes. I mean, we already see the display of your votes. So you know what? Everyone can say let's take the vote right now.
I have a question.
Trustee Jones called for a vote.
I still, you can call for a vote, but if you ask a question. The question I have, Mr. Mayor, in the past year, how many events of the Parks and Recs have you been to? I didn't ask, I asked the mayor. How many events from the corner dog roast to the Halloween, to the Christmas, to the Easter egg hunt? How many of those events have you yourself attended?
I think, trustee, how many have I been invited?
He asked the question.
You're the mayor. You don't have to be invited. You're the mayor. Excuse me.
I thought we was grown-ups up here. Sorry,
You don't have to be invited, Mr. Mayor. This is your town. You have, as you stated before, you have the right to go in and out anywhere because you are the mayor. You don't have to be invited to come to an event that's put on in the name of Sauk Village. You're the mayor of Sauk Village. If they're having something in the name of Sauk Village, you should be there. But my question is this, the last time this was done, it was done because of finances. And you do understand, the last time a trustee was removed from a committee is because of finances. The reason why you're doing this now, I don't know. I've even asked many times, we take money, we take money to do other things. We need to take money to put back into a program that hasn't done anything in the past. The last time we had a successful program was 6, 7, 8 years ago. We've had ad hoc programs. We had programs where people came out and tried to do whatever. We never had a true basketball program until 7, 8 years ago. I asked can we put money into that program to nurture it, to make it grow? We're competing with other communities that have programs that have been up and going for the last 20 years. You have to compete on that level. You can't go out there and stand in the street and ask for boots, or ask for money to program something, to finance something that's going to cost $15,000, $20,000. Now you're talking about removing a trustee from a committee that you put him to. And now you're asking this board, which you already know, because you yourself would not call for a vote unless you knew you had the votes. So you're asking to remove a trustee from a committee, that you gave to him. Now, and also we've asked you, me and this same trustee, asked you about a committee that I'm chairing. So we sit down and talk to you, and we've been given the runaround. So I guess the next thing is going to happen is, since I get all my reports, or all the reports that Public Works does is given from the Public Works Director, I guess I haven't done anything either. So I guess I'll be the next person to be taken off. Believe me, if I hear that, you don't have to vote on that. You won't have to vote on that. If that's the case, if that's what you're going to do because they don't cow down, beg, or whatever to you, that you're going to take a trustee, an elected official, off a committee that you put them on, and without giving them a chance, 6 months? He's only been chairman of that committee since May, really June. So it's 7 months. Now you're saying there's no program, there's no money. Mayor, I don't know, I can't make you go back on your own whatever, but you didn't even give them a cycle. Nope. You didn't even say, here's a year, here's some money. I can see if you say, here's some money, try to make this program work. Then if it didn't work, fine. But not even a cycle. When that person came in, they came in behind something else. They didn't even get a cycle because all the volunteers that were there prior to him taking that position left.
Question.
Just hang on, real quick. I just want to make a statement here. And I just want to make sure that we're clear on this. Where, when I put the trustees together, I made it very clear the trustees have got to work together. Okay?
We are.
And secondly, we heard tonight during the Parks and Recs report that everything is on hold until a trustee is removed. This is not working together, and who's suffering?
Okay, so why don't you rectify it then?
The children of our
Why don't you
community
rectify
are
it?
suffering.
So you take plan favoritism
The chair.
because someone runs the workbook instead of having questions for you. Let's put it to a vote. Put it to a vote.
I still have a comment to make.
Trustee Rhodes.
Anybody who would like to address me after the board meeting, please feel free to do so.
I don't think we
And
need
my
police.
name is Rosie, not Bobblehead, Miss Cass, because I know you're.
I don't think we need the police.
Second of all, my comment was this, okay? Earlier today, I asked for, what is the proper form? Okay? Last board meeting, we had an executive session, a discussion, where multiple trustees had multiple problems with each other. We were told we couldn't discuss it. Last week at the committee meeting, there was a discussion that was brought up about the Parks and Recs Committee, which I don't think was handled properly by anybody who was involved in it. The outrage, the going back and forth, the being called out of order, the not yielding the floor, it's ridiculous. This why I asked, there's got to be a better way to do this. I asked tonight how we do that. When Trustee Burgess asked if we could vote on this because it wasn't on the agenda, Mr. Mayor, you said, have a second, we can have a discussion. This is what this is. I honestly, really and truly feel like it is a disappointment that this Parks and Recs committee cannot work together. I don't go to your meetings. I've only been to a few of your events. I don't know what I honestly don't know what the problem is. But for the co-chair of the committee to not be able to do an event in the community center, no.
Standing committee.
Donate money? No. So, as I was stating, as the co-chair of the committee to not be able to participate in use of the center, that's an issue. I know
That's not what happened.
and that's what I'm saying.
That's not what happened.
I started off by this comment by saying I don't attend the meetings. I don't know that it's not for me to attend. What I'm saying is that there's got to be a better way to move forward. I know that both trustees, in letter form by Trustee Washington, and last week Tuesday, Trustee Jones said, what are we going to do about this? I don't necessarily agree with the way that it was presented, maybe because of the anger on both accounts, but again, I don't understand why it can't be resolved in a better fashion. And what I would like to know is, as I've stated, the mayor has the right to make appointments. Nobody is arguing that. I would like to know, should this happen, where we go from here? And the problem is that right now, making this vote is we don't know where we go from here. And I think what I would like to do is I would like to have this, and I'm listening to the attorney because again, I'm really confused about what we can talk about, what we can't talk about when it comes to us and everything else. I know that you can't have two trustees meeting, talking to the mayor. So I would like to know if this is something that could be discussed at a committee meeting and have the mayor present why this is the best way to go and what would the direction be, because again, it is the mayor's right to make an appointment. I'm not arguing that in the least, but this committee oversees a building. It oversees people who, I know there's programs going on over there. I don't know the ramifications behind it, but it's going to adversely affect a lot of different things. And I don't know about the transitional period. So that's my question, if that's something that is allowed to be discussed at a committee meeting. And then I would like to see this after that represented, because if there's no resolution, fine. If the two trustees and the mayor or whoever, I'm not on this committee, I don't know what to do with it. But if there can't be a resolution, somebody needs to go. I agree with that. I'm not saying that's not true.
Trustee, my concern is that this has gone on for weeks now. We've seen an outburst in the village board meeting over this. We've seen tonight that the children are the ones that are going to be suffering because now everything's on hold. Why should we continue to go further and have the kids suffer? Because I've got a chair who cannot work with a co-chair, number one. And again, like I said, this has been going on for weeks now. And I went off and everyone knows, I said the trustees are both adults. They need to come together. They need to work things out. I've talked to JW to see if we can get, I think JW and the chief, to see if we can get some federal mediators in there. Because, again, as a mayor, I can only do so much. But if they're not going to work together, why should we continue to have this and then say we're going to stop all programs and nothing's going to happen in the Parks and Recs because I can't get along with the person that I have a co-chair with?
Mr. Mayor, you made a statement.
Comment.
I'm sorry. Go right ahead, trustee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I can speak very well for myself. Second of all, the mayor made a decision to put co-chairs on every committee. No co-chairs volunteered to be on any committees. When we were told that we were going to co-chair committees, me personally, myself, was very shocked at the one that he gave me because I work with children all day. I didn't necessarily want to co-chair Parks and Recs, but that was a decision that the mayor made, and he told all of us what we would be co-chairing. And when he told me that I would be co-chairing Parks and Recs, like the other trustees, I just, continue to do that. Second of all, I have worked within the capacity that I've been allowed to work with Parks and Recs. I am not going to dignify anybody or any antics or any kind of outbursts, because that's not my character or my personality. That's not the kind of woman that I am. And I don't care about what people say. I don't care about what people say. My mother raised me right. I don't care about comments that people make. I will address all of these issues in another venue at my convenience with the people that I want to talk to. There are 10,000 people in Sauk Village. There's approximately 45 or 50 people here. The same people always make the outbursts. I am so glad that these meetings are videotaped. I will be using them to make all the presentations that I need to talk about my stance and what I've done. But I do want to say, in the beginning of me becoming co-chair, I met with Trustee Jones. At that point, they were newly elected in April. They were sworn in May. Because the parade was in July, we met. I called him, I reached out to him. I said, there's no reason why we can't have the parade. He thought that it wouldn't be a good idea because he didn't have enough time to get it together. I said, Ed Myers, we can make it happen. All Ed Myers needs to do is get things together for the fireworks, the licenses, and all of that. We can make it happen. I called Trustee Jones. He and I met at Dunkin' Donuts. None of them were there. We sat down, we came up with a plan, and we were able to pull that parade together, and I thought it was good for the first time. Coming up to date, as far as me having the plays in the community center, I've been announcing this since November. I am a very organized person, and I know how to handle my business. Trustee Jones called me on the phone, and he said, Trustee Washington, what dates do you need to use the community center? During Christmas holiday when I was on break. I told him just every Saturday, and I'm going to do it in the morning because from my past experience, most baby showers or wedding receptions, they're at 1 or 3 or 4 o'clock, so I'll go early in the morning, although it's a sacrifice for my block club captains, but we'll go early, like 11 to 1:30, we'll be out of there. He said, put it in writing and give it to me so I can know the dates. That was on holiday during the Christmas break. I told him that I would. I came the next day to the village hall. I gave it to Sherry. I put it in the administrator's mailbox along with Trustee Jones, the mayor, and all parties that needed to know the dates. Although I had been announcing it since November, there was no place, and I have the application at the bottom of the application where it says for office use or a signature has to be signed. Maybe it was a miscommunication that he needed to let me know that those dates were okay. I never heard anything back from him, put it in his mailbox with Trustee. Those dates are not going to be okay, or some of those dates won't be okay. I never received a phone call anyway until I received keys after going to the mayor, the Trustee Jones, back and forth trying to get the keys. Then the mayor said, get the keys from Trustee Jones. You all leave them someplace where you all can share them. I told Trustee Jones, no, you keep the keys because you showed the building and I'll just try to work it out. I'll try to get a key some kind of way. When that kept going back and forth between the mayor and Trustee Jones, eventually I was given some keys to be able to get into the building. So now moving up to that at this point, Neighborhood Watch is going to have the play in April. If the play is based on community involvement and public safety, the money is being raised to have book bags and supplies to go in 500 book bags. I don't need a platform at Rickover School to do anything that I want to do. What we're doing is for the children. We did it 2 years previously, and there was no election, and we're going to follow up because my block club captains and my committee want to do it that way. So I say to all of my block club captains that's out here tonight, and although it's being videotaped, know that at no time my silence means weakness, but I will address it in another arena soon.
Mr. Mayor.
At no time did the mayor call me about any keys of any sort. I told you exactly what we could do about the key situation. You chose to go above anything that I said, so what I said had nothing to do with it anyway. You said, I'm gonna go get me some keys. The keys are there on the building just like it has always been. If there's a code, just like everyone else uses, I don't even have the key to the community center. The community center key is on the wall. And just like everyone else, I give you a code and you could have used the community center just like that. But you chose to do what you want to do. This is why I could not sign off, because you proved to me that you was not capable of doing what you say you're gonna do, because you feel that you could do whatever you want to do to anyone just because you trustee.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor.
Sorry.
Thank you, Trustee Burgess. Listen, every one of us here, we have messed up. Somewhere down the line, every one of us. Everyone. Hey, listen. All right, I got the floor. All right, but I think the mayor, if he wants to make this decision, we should talk about it in a committee session. And I don't think this is the way to go. You just got done asking us back in the back room, and I know I'm violating the law that not to speak anything back there, but you just got done asking us to try to work together, everybody. All right? And you just got done saying that you called the KW and ordered a mediator in here to talk to us. All right, bring the mediator in. Let's sit down and talk. But don't do this tonight. Don't do this tonight. Mayor, please. Don't do it. And I'm leaving.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to say, by you stating what you stated, you've already opened your hand. You can't put the horse back in the barn, he's gone out. I mean, you've already stated that you want to change and make a change, and you wanted to actually get rid of Trustee Jones as chairman of Parks and Recs. How do you think he's supposed to go forth with that, as already knowing that you've already made that decision? My question is, you claim that he hasn't brought any program, he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. What has the co-chair, what programs have they brought? I can see if the co-chair brought some programs and then the chairman said, no, we're not gonna work on those. But I've been to some of those meetings, didn't hear anything. So I'm asking now, if you make that decision, okay, make that decision, you vote on it, because all you're going to do is create more dissension if you go forth there and we table it. Because you're going to table it to another time to when you're going to still vote on it because you made that decision. You let this trustee know you have no confidence in that person. And that's something that they have to deal with going forth trying to serve this village. So either you say they're going to stay on or you make that decision to have that vote. But the table is, now you are bringing dissension. And I still stated before, it's only been 7 months, Mr. Mayor. And now you want to remove him for what? That's not a good reason, but you're the mayor, you have the votes, you can do basically what you want. We all know that. You know that. We already know that. But I think it's a wrong thing to do to get rid of a person that is tried, but only because they do not agree with what you think that you're going to do this. Now you're saying that this other person that's the co-chair is a much better fit for this particular committee, and I haven't seen anything other than plays or whatever, but I've seen other things that have happened in the community where they were criticized about. We never brought that up. That never came up. But now, since there's no programs, or you said there's no programs, so he hasn't done anything, and had a chance to do anything, hasn't had a cycle, have not had a cycle. But to judge a person just because this person doesn't go along, and that's what it looks like. I don't care what no one states. It looks like that if you don't go along with me, this is what I can do. And that's exactly, we can sit here and do back and forth all night long. It's either your way or the highway.
Mr. Mayor, I know that earlier today we had a resignation from one committee. We've had multiple citizens come up and multiple board members talk about the problem in that one committee. And I don't know, I'm not saying that that committee's a problem. I'm not saying that that person that resigned is a problem. I'm saying that multiple people have come up and people have said, there's an issue, and I don't know what the personal reasons were, But unfortunately, a resident who has worked tirelessly on that committee for a very, very long time has chosen, for whatever reason, to resign. Part of it, I'm sure, has got to be because of the pressure that she was receiving from audience members, from other people. So it's sad to me that in one night, 2 committees have the potential to be so drastically changed. That was her choice. She made that resignation. In this case, it's a little bit different. And I think that, again, I'm going to ask that this be tabled and be discussed at a committee meeting. Because, again, I have no problem voting on something that I have information about. Right now, you have 2 trustees who have very different opinions of what happened. And I think that because of this committee, the amount of money they have in the budget, they've got a building to run, it's fine. I kind of feel like if there was a mistake in the appointment, then maybe, like I said before, remove them both, keep them both, monitor. I don't know what the option is, but we've had multiple trustees ask for a vote, or to call for a vote, and I'm just asking that we reconsider this, discuss it, and if that's the plan, I will rescind my second, so then there's not even a motion in the second. I have no problem doing that, because as I stated when I made the second, there was going to be a discussion, and I think that a discussion needs to happen. I don't know if there's been new programming. I know that there hasn't been any, much reporting about what's been going on. I don't know what happened with the corner dog roast. I know that there was going to be a toy giveaway in December, and there wasn't a toy giveaway in December. I don't know in what capacity the volunteers played in that, but that's just it. I don't know. So I think that the discussion needed to happen, but I would like the discussion to go further. I would like to have the opportunity for both the co-chair and the chair to be able to present. I would like the mayor to be able to explain, and the only way that can happen is if we postpone this. So again, Mr. Mayor, we've already had 1 trustee leave because he was so upset about what was going on, and I just think that this just needs to be.
Trustee, again, I guess you can say that, first of all, I've already mentioned that I've had multiple complaints about this committee. The trustee said, how is the trustee supposed to get things done now that I've said something? Well, you know what? You know where we're coming from. Get out there and get the work done. Don't come to a board meeting and say, everything's on hold, we're not doing anything else in Parks and Recs until you get rid of the co-chair. Okay? So, and as a mayor, I face the blame because there's nothing going on. I came to a town hall meeting there, and it was one of the top 5 things that our kids had nothing to do. There's a community center sitting right over there. So it was one of the top 5 things that you mentioned.
Then you should come to should come to a committee meeting.
Funding.
So here we go. The mayor gets, so here I am. I'm doing something. I want you to consider this, okay? If the youth continue to suffer because I have a chair that will not work with a co-chair,
vote.
I've done my job.
Let's vote.
I've come to this room.
Let's vote. Enough of the politicking. Let's vote. Let's stop campaigning. Let's vote.
See, this is okay. Okay, call for vote. Call for vote. You may.
No.
Jones.
No.
Myers is absent. Tate.
No.
Washington.
Yes.
Williams.
Right. I have brought it to the floor. I have made sure that everyone knows that there's a co-chair and a chair that's not working together. They are both over the Parks and Recs. And I have made sure that everyone knows that our youth are suffering. So with that said, I'd ask for a motion to approve. Motion to second.
Motion to do what?
To adjourn.
That is stupid.
All in favor, say aye.
Maybe, Mayor, you should come to one of the Parks and Recs meetings.
No, let him do what he's doing.
Let him come to the Parks and Recs meeting, maybe.
adjourned.